Hey guys, it's Kelly and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about today's video because we are doing the ultimate Atlas tour. I have two Atlases, 4 car seats, 1 stroller, and a lot of energy to really break down the differences in both bench and captain's chairs of the new 24 Atlas and the trim levels. We have a more base SE and then a top of the line SEL. There is a $10,000 price difference between these two cars, and I'm going to show you the differences so you can decide what works best for your family. If this is your first time joining me, hey, I'm Kelly and I'm the car mom. I review cars for moms and families. I'm a mom of 3 and I'm a certified child passenger safety tech. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about what happened with the Atlas in 24. They're not totally calling it like an entire body style change, but it's a little bit more than like a mid-cycle refresh because the Atlas did come out in 2019. As far as like interior space and dimensions, nothing changed, but it got some serious technology upgrades and some pretty significant exterior upgrades as well, which I honestly think was very needed for the Atlas lineup when you look at some of the other competitors and just how much tech and design and thoughtfulness the manufacturers put in. One of my biggest complaints with the Atlas was how bare bones it was in the interior, which made me sad because this is one of my favorite cars for families. It is so car seat friendly and I can't wait to show you all of that. But first, let's talk about some of the major differences for 24. It's a lot of light bars. They're trying to bring it into 2024. So now we have a light bar that runs through here and a matching one on the back. Plus, if you get an SE Tech or above, you're gonna have an illuminated Volkswagen logo, which at night looks freaking stellar. I have seen them on the highway and I have been a really big fan. Okay, as far as the side profile is concerned, no real upgrades for 2024. A few different color combinations, wheel combinations, but for the most part, it's the same. I love this boxy exterior. I love the looks of the Volkswagen Atlas. I also like the looks of her sister, the Atlas Cross Sport, which saw very similar upgrades for the 2024 model year. Let's take a look at the trunk. So this is the controversy. This giant light bar, I'm feeling so mixed by. When I look at it compared to the 2023s and below, I'm like, oh, those look so weird, but then this looks so weird. It kind of makes me feel like the Kia Carnival, which I don't love. So I'm feeling mixed. Let me know in the comments below what you think. It's by no means a deal breaker. I just think it's an interesting design choice. And I kind of think like only time will tell if this kind of continues to trend up or if this dates the car more quickly. All right, so let's get into the interior. We're gonna start with the SEL and I'm gonna show you all the insane tech upgrades they made for 24. Just being in the driver's seat of the 24 Atlas, I can tell how much more updated the interior feels. Even like down to like how the leather feels, the stitching, it feels a lot more luxe and high end. Now this car that I'm doing, this SEL, has an MSRP of $51,000. So I'm expecting some upgraded tech for 51 grand. So some upgrades for 2024. One thing I was most excited to see, heads-up display. Now I know that's not gonna pick up on camera, but that was so missing in the Volkswagen lineup, and I love that it's been introduced for the higher trim levels. We have our same nice, beautiful digital display, but some upgrades are the ambient lighting in this infotainment system. It is so much better in my opinion. I don't love some of the controls, like specifically down here, like I would love a volume knob. Like this is just not something that I'm interested in, but I like the looks of this display. It looks so similar to an Apple CarPlay without even having Apple CarPlay turned on. But of course this car does come with both wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Also so surprised to find heated and ventilated seats standard across the Atlas lineup, which is a very nice driver's comfort feature that's not put behind a price wall, and I really appreciate that about the Volkswagen Atlas. One of the shining stars about the Volkswagen Atlas are their cup holders, which is so funny because typically German or European cars think us Americans and our crazy cups are insane. But the Volkswagen Atlas doesn't. It was actually one of the first SUVs from Volkswagen to be built just for the American market, which is why I would suggest they gave us the cup holders we were looking for. Let's start with this side cubby, you guys. That's freaking huge. I can fit a Stanley in the side cubby. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how many times I've done this and failed? That is very exciting. Okay, let me get to the other side and we're gonna start breaking down some of the tech in the infotainment system. One of my most favorite tech upgrades in this Atlas is their ambient lighting package. Now this ambient lighting is not available on all trims, so like it's not on the SE that we have, but you can change it to truly every color of the rainbow. And it's not only gonna change the infotainment system and the dash, but it's also at night going to have some lights running through the cabin. And I just think this is so fun. Another difference in this one versus the SE we have is the panoramic sunroof. Volkswagen has just one of the best panel roofs. It goes back so far. It has a very small bar here, so you really do get that almost like Tesla-like feel of it just really opening up the whole cabin, and I love it. I'm also so excited about some of the storage spacing found in this Atlas. We have a wireless charger, 2 USB-Cs in a little area here, some great cup holders, some more storage, a nice size center console with an additional USB-C, and new for 24, we have this updated bridge down here, which I find very nice for a little bit of extra storage. More and more cars are getting this, and I think that is such a good use of the space instead of just making it like a hollow thing we're not using. So all in all, I'm very impressed with the tech upgrades and just both the interior upgrades of the 24 Atlas. Let's get to the second and third row, and even though not much has changed, I have a lot of car seats and I want to break down a lot of different things with you. Okay, so while all the driver's upgrades are great, I know you're probably tuning into this video to figure out how your kids are going to fit in this car. And like I said earlier, the Volkswagen Atlas is one of my favorite midsize SUVs for families, specifically large families trying to fit a lot of kids in a smaller vehicle. I have the captain's chairs here and the bench seat in the SE. So let's start with the captain's chairs, and let's start by looking at my car seat clearance with a tall driver and an infant seat right here. I would say a lot of clearance, probably close to 5 inches, which is very generous for the size of this car. So here's a shot of me in the second row of the Volkswagen Atlas, and I have this seat set for myself, and as you can see, as expected, I have great knee clearance. Now the Volkswagen Atlas is one of the larger of the mid-size SUVs, so I'm expecting a good second and third row legroom. I really feel it in the second row. I also like how wide this car is, and it's one of those cars where I feel like the aisleway could actually have a full-size adult fit through it. So many of the other mid-size SUVs, I swear the aisle is like this big. This one's like this big. So it's not great, but it's definitely better. As far as my second row amenities are concerned, a huge misstep on Volkswagen's part is not having ceiling vents and instead only having vents on the back of the center console. Again, I'm not saying that's a total deal breaker, but as you can see, for a rear-facing child like this, ventilation is going to be tough. I would so much rather have them on the ceiling. And everyone spare me the comments of they can't do that with a panoramic sunroof, because so many manufacturers figure out a way to do both. Okay, but some amenities I'm excited about in this SEL trim. Heated seats in the second row, 2 USB-Cs, and we have built-in sunshades, which is always nice. So before we get to the third row, I wanted to show you the bench seat of the Volkswagen Atlas, because one thing I love about the VW lineup is they allow you to get the bench seat in the higher trim levels, which so few manufacturers do. And as a mom, I feel like I don't want to have to choose between fitting my kids and a power tailgate. So thank you, Volkswagen, for not making me choose. Plus, the bench of the Volkswagen Atlas is truly, I almost want to say like best in class, because they have 3 sets of lower anchors and 3 tethers, which is very exciting to find a full set of lower anchors in the middle seat. This car is a 3 across machine. I have done so many different combinations of 3 across in the Atlas, and I'm excited to show you the one I have today. I have 2 Grey Coat Slim Fit 3LXs and 1 Peg Parago booster seat to show you how cool the car seat tilt is. But first, let's give you a shot of what 3 across looks like. As you can see, I have 1 installed rear facing with latch. The Grey Coat in the middle is installed with a seat belt, and then the Peg Parago booster is also installed with latch on the other side. But again, what I really appreciate about the Volkswagen Atlas bench is so many different 3 across combos work. So many times when I show 3 across, I have to make the disclaimer like, hey, this is only going to work for this specific car seat combo. But as your kids grow, as they get in booster seats, as they move out of car seats, this is still going to be able to accommodate them well. So one of my favorite features found in the Atlas is what's called the car seat friendly tilt. So this is the Peg Parago booster seat that utilizes the latch attachment to keep it in place. And you might be thinking like, wow, 3 across, third row access must be shot. But my friends, it is not. Check this out. The car seat friendly tilt, it tilts and slides, does not affect the integrity of this installation, and then I would be able to access the third row. Okay, I want to break down the third row of the Volkswagen Atlas. So no matter what trim level you get, you're only ever going to find 2 seats in the third row. But to be honest, I'm okay with that, because normally when we find 3 seats back here, the middle one is a joke and like no one can fit there anyway. So instead of squishing 3, I have 2 very comfortable seats, and look at how wide and deep this seat is. This is a car seat installation dream, because I don't have to worry about any sort of overhang. So often I find third row benches are so shallow, and it can make car seat installations a little bit more difficult. So I love how deep this bench is. Because it's so deep though, I'm gonna be honest, you lose a little bit of legroom. So if you're truly after legroom, this might not be your best option. This seat is pushed all the way back, and as you can see, my knees are kind of pressed against it. But let's move it forward and give you a shot of what my legroom looks like then. So with the seat pushed all the way forward, I do have better knee clearance. So just depending on who is sitting here, you may be able to give more or less room as needed. As far as the car seat hardware is concerned, no lower anchors on these seats, which is a missed op for me, especially for booster seats. I would love to see lower anchors added, but we do have tether anchors in both seats, which is great because sometimes you don't always find them there, you guys. Okay, as far as my amenities are concerned, the vents here have better placement than the second row, which I've never understood about the Atlas lineup. These vents are better than down there, but at least we have some. 2 USB-Cs, but only on this side, which is an interesting choice. I'd rather just have one on each. And then some very small, weird, kind of awkward cup holders. The only other thing I don't love about the third row is how you exit it. You actually have to lift this lever up and tilt and slide it. And obviously for an adult like myself, that's easy to do. But some of the other models, like if we look at the new Chevy Traverse and the new GMC Acadia, they're utilizing a button, which I think is a lot more child friendly. Okay, let's talk about the trunk of the Volkswagen Atlas. So we're looking at about 18 cubic feet, and I kind of had to play Jenga with my Mockingbird stroller. I mean, there's definitely a couple of different ways you could try to make it work, but here's the thing, it's not the worst, but in a world where the midsize SUVs trunks are getting bigger and bigger, the Atlas is starting to kind of fall behind. So, you know, I think it's okay. I think that one of the biggest problems with it is just because of the way that it's designed, you kind of have a lower roof line, so you don't have like the extra cubic feet up here. Even though it's a pretty decent depth, you just don't have a ton of height. One thing that I think is fun are these little things. I mean, they're kind of silly, but they kind of like keep things in place pretty nicely. Like if you had like a watermelon or something there, I don't know, I'm kind of into it. Seats, very easy to fold flat, which I love. Nothing's power, I'm not mad. Take like 5 seconds to pull up and down, and I'd rather do that than wait for a power seat, that's for sure. And then on this SEL, we're also going to have a power tailgate. No power tailgate on the SE. So now I'm in the SE trim, which is their base trim. Again, this one's $10,000 less of the one I showed you earlier. So here's what you have, a lot. We still have that same infotainment system. We still have the wireless charger, the cup holders, the pass-through, all of the functionality is the same. We're just missing some features. Those main features are the heads-up display, the ambient lighting, a sunroof, a power tailgate. A few more things here and there, but basically it's just going to come down to if you care about those upgraded comfort and convenience features, or if you can do without them. Know that the functionality and how it will work for your family will be the same regardless of which trim level you get. Even though this car is missing some features, I'm still very impressed with what the SE has, and it's still a huge upgrade from their outgoing models. We're going to have heated and ventilated seats standard across the Atlas lineup, which is crazy. We're still going to have this upgraded, beautiful display that I'm really a big fan of, and some nice interior designs. I mean, look at this faux wood trim. Like, for this to be the base model, you would not know it was the base model until you started looking around and noticed the features missing, because when you just get in here, this feels very high end. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to my Volkswagen Atlas tour. Again, I am such a big fan of this car, and I think it works well for families of all sizes and ages. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Volkswagen Atlas, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and please give this video a thumbs up. All right, I'll see you next time.